The goal of this video is to introduce the basics of a simple camera with a long lasting battery and a very light to wear over on your head. The goal was to be able to record for 5 hours and the weight that you carry on your head be very small, which required us to basically take this camera and power it off of a battery that you would put in your pocket. So this is kind of the battery for it. So the camera uses about 240 milliamp hour. That means if it uses 240 milliamps and over an hour, that's how they measure the power of it. And this device is 16,000 milliamp hours, which basically tells us that the camera will use a very small percentage of the battery power. Now the two LEDs, the LED here and here, are super bright LEDs, and these LEDs I have 100 ohm connected to them, so that means they are consuming somewhere around 50 milliamps each. So we're talking about around 100 milliamps for that and 240 for the camera. So that puts us at 340 milliamp hours, and our battery is capable of over 16,000 milliamps hours. So in not sitting down and doing the exact calculation of it, we're looking right around 50 hours of usage from that battery before it runs out. So it's a long time. I think the only limiting factor is going to be the camera we have in there. That camera is a mini spy hidden camera from NIYPS. Is a 1080p camera. It weighs less than an ounce and is about an inch by an inch, which is right now sitting inside this enclosure that was 3D printed. Okay, and then there are two USB cables that right now shrink wrap together, connected to the camera, and the camera is intentionally designed to be compatible with GoPro. That might be a little bit of an overkill for this camera. We might have been able to do something simpler. And then you have the headband which goes with it. The idea is that the cable that comes out of the camera, it will go over your head, around your back, down to the other side of the cable, which is gonna have two connections, and it's labeled as LED and cam. And if you look at it, my battery, I'm labeling it as LED and cam for whatever reason. I haven't figured out why, but for whatever reason, the LED has to be connected to this one, and which is labeled LED, and the cam has to be connected to the cam in order for it to work. Otherwise, the LED doesn't turn on. Before I forget, if you want to power this, there's another small cable that comes with the battery that you can use to power it. And that will be with the camera. It's a little USB to mini USB connector. Okay, and so that's as far as that's concerned. So in order to use the camera, all you have to do is put the camera in here, in the portion that's labeled camera. It's just a simple USB connection, and then put the LED in the part one that's labeled LED, and then you will see that, I'll bring that over here, you will see, oops, I better turn it over. You'll see that the LEDs will turn on automatically. If you don't want to use the LED, just go ahead and unplug it. Unplug the LED USB, and then the LED won't turn on. And then the other thing you'll see is on top of this thing, you will see, let me see if I can turn it so you can see the light. You can see there's a light, there's a little kind of dim. Let me disconnect the LEDs just so we get a better contrast. So if you notice on the very top of this thing, there is the little red LED that's flashing. That indicates it's charging. So if you want to record, you see that it's kind of dim, but okay, here we go. And it's flashing. And if you want to record, you press this button. It flashes a few times and then shuts up. Now it's recording. Okay, so what's going to happen is it's continuously recording. Right now there's nothing to record pretty much, so I'll just put it in here. And then when you finish, either disconnect it, or you can hold this button down for 5. If you want to interrupt the recording, just hold this down for 5 seconds and it will stop recording. Otherwise, just let it record. It records for 5 hours. What it's going to do is when it's finished, it's going to have the so let's say you're finished, you would disconnect your camera from your battery, and then take the USB that is labeled camera, connected to any device that has a USB capability. When you plug it in, it comes up as a USB drive, and there's going to be photo and video. Inside the video, you're going to have a bunch of files labeled, numbered, basically. If you have any leftover from the previous times, yeah, it's going to be there. But if you don't have it, it starts at 1 and it starts counting them up. What it does, it creates a separate file for every 10 minutes of recording. So the first file would be for the first 10 minutes, then second 10 minutes, third 10 minutes, and on and on. Usually every 10 minutes takes about roughly 10 gigabyte, give and take some. It varies up to 30%. So with the 32 gigabyte drive that's in this thing, you probably can record somewhere between well over 4 hours to maybe 6 hours on the best case, 6 or 7 hours. I don't think you're going to go that high. So that's basically all there is to it. And the files are video files. You can view them anywhere you want, and that's pretty much it.